Good morning, everybody. It's very difficult getting to talk to people on a Saturday morning. We don't know what to ask what happened yesterday or last night. But it's very difficult to also say no to a lady called Washeke. Centonomy and what it does to transform lives of each one of us that are seated here today. You are in for a transformation. Topics of money are always related to where you want to create our destinies and how we want to live our lives. We all want to pray for success and be successful in whatever that we do. Well, I'll get to share with you a journey of how I started my entrepreneurship journey within the Parapet group of companies as a 21-year-old young man. I'm still young. I still claim to be young. And this started up about in 1997. I went and did hotel management. And when I got back to the country, I wanted to serve my country and working in hotels. Unfortunate for me, I got back at a time when the Likoni clashes had just happened and hospitality, just as the challenges it's facing today, things are not good. So I found myself in a situation whereby I've studied, I've graduated, I've been offered jobs out there, but I wanted to serve my country. And I got back at a time now when there are no jobs. So I was jobless. I tarmacked for the next 6 months or so. And I decided I'm not going to sit back and just be one of those victims that points up fingers at government and saying, you messed me up. There is no job opportunity for me. But before I move on to the next stage of my story, I would like to understand my audience, because I guess we are here for all different reasons and also to listen on different presentations with regards to the various programs that Centonomy is offering. So by a show of hands, I would like to see how many are still currently working somewhere. Wow, the majority of us. How many are entrepreneurs running their own businesses? The endangered species? How many of us are college students? Fantastic. So the bulk of us are currently undergoing a job or working somewhere, and probably with that hope that they can be able to get out to our world and become entrepreneurs themselves. So I think I will change my story a bit just to be able to address a bit of that, a bit of the college life, and also a bit about success stories within entrepreneurship. Well, going back a bit to not feeling pity for myself and just saying, look, things are bad, I decided to then start selling juice. So I did not get into entrepreneurship it was purely by accident. No one has a label telling you you're meant to be an entrepreneur, or this is how your journey is meant to be, that you should not work for anyone, or you should run your own businesses. The choice is up to yours. And I think for me, it was just circumstance that I got myself to what I'm doing today. So I started selling concentrate juices to the same hotels that were not doing well. So before I could say Jack the Beanstalk, my business was already down again because I was selling juice, not getting paid, so no capital. So that was my first business venture. I'll get to mention again about business ventures about that when I was in high school. For those who don't know, in high school, I used to be the one who was sought after in terms of getting to do calligraphy works for girlfriends of my classmates and do love letters for them on their behalf during prep time, and then put perfume, which is stolen from your father's wardrobe, and then crush a rose, slip on it, attach it to the letter, and send it out to the girlfriends in Stato, in cabs, in other places, in Boma, and so on. So that was my other sidekick when I was starting up things. But ideally, I was at my lowest moment when the business of selling juice did not work out. And I asked myself, what is it about life that I should have tried entrepreneurship? I've tried getting a job, and both of them are not working. And then, as I searched deep within, I asked myself, what was I trained to do? What do I love to do? I trained in hospitality. And in hospitality, all sectors within which cover hospitality, from front office to housekeeping to engineering to customer care and so on, I learned that. But I asked myself, what is that one thing that I loved to do? And housekeeping came to mind. There was an opportunity then. A lot of organizations are looking at outsourcing cleaning services because it was not core to their businesses. There was cleaning, there was security, and other things. So during that point is when I said, okay, why don't I try and set up a company that would offer home cleaning solutions, coming to clean carpets, your cars, offices, buildings, and so on. And I set it up. And as I was setting up the organization, I had no clue where I'm going to get my clients from. So I decided, there was an advert one of the days where it was actually surprisingly Ernst & Young. They were looking for an organization that can provide cleaning services for an airport in Africa. There was no definition where it was. And I said, this is it. I applied for it. And truth be told, I was shortlisted. And before you know it, it was actually Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. JKIA, I got the award, and it was the first job. First and foremost, it was a, how would I put it? It was a huge contract by a government. And it was the days that people were considered to have godfathers. And as we moved along and I started the contract, 3 months later, they discovered that this young man had no godfather. And guess what happened? My contract was cancelled. I was kicked out again and told, you're not meant to be in this business. I had borrowed heavily from a bank that had trusted me. I'd brought on board shareholders who had entrusted me to be able to give them a return on their money. And I was back again to square zero. Any person at that point would decide, I know what, this thing is not meant for me, let me just give it up and just move on, or go back to where I came from. Maybe I'll be able to get some good solace there. But at that point, I remember when we were about to wind out the company before we started because of debt, the staff that I'd hired to be able to deliver Jomo Kenyatta International Airport told me that, you know what, there is a good business in this thing. And a lot of them just sacrificed and said, we're going to go work with no pay. Let's build this business. Let's go advertise. Let's make some brochures. Let's go out into the streets and just try and sell business. Let's talk to our friends. Let's talk to our neighbors. Let's get it going. At that point, I did not realize is when I ignited a certain passion as an entrepreneur. The definitions of entrepreneurs come in differently. An entrepreneur is one that inspires followers, and that one follower is the one that ignites all the enthusiasm around the people that work with them. So you need that one crazy guy or lady who will then believe in you to be able to do what you love to do. Because you as one person, as an entrepreneur, you never know what it is that you're going to be able to do. You know where you want to end up, but you require your group of followers that believe in you. And the difference between a successful entrepreneur and just a mediocre one is that, do you have people that believe in your mission and your vision and will drop everything and walk blindly with you and run with you? That's where Parapet's life changed. We started getting business. We started a movement that today has created over 4,000 entrepreneurs. I call them entrepreneurs. They're associates that you see cleaning your shopping malls, cleaning your hospitals, cleaning your homes, cleaning your offices. Every sector in your factories and so on are entrepreneurs in their own right. They are the owners of the business. I just manage. They own. Now, how did that happen? It started with that first piece of believing. And it starts with a small group of, or a unit of people that will be able to actually drive your vision. That story started in 1999. Right now, we're about 16 years, 17 years. Representing Kenya, we're in Uganda. We'll be moving to Rwanda in the next 2-3 months. We're looking at South Sudan. We're looking at Ethiopia. We're looking at Ghana. We're looking at Africa. If you asked me 17 years ago, where Parapet would be 17 years later, I had absolutely no clue. The minute you create followers, they end up owning the vision and they will direct the vision wherever it wants to go. So my lessons to the entrepreneurs in this room and those who want to become entrepreneurs is that you have to look out for the people that will drive your vision. You'll have to look out to inspire them. A lot of times we make the mistake of looking at it from a point of view that it's all about me. It's not all about you. It's about others. Somebody once told me, it's not about what you say, it's about what they hear. As a leader, we have to concentrate on what do you think your team is hearing about you. You may say everything that you want to say about myself, but what is it being translated by the team on the ground? A realization I've learned over the time is not about me. It's about you. What has continuous journey that has led me to where we are today has been created by the realization that it stopped becoming all about a business enterprise that is going in for profit. And I changed my mindset from an early stage to ask myself, what is the full purpose of what I'm doing in running the business of Parapet. And it stuck to one thing: creation of employment, creation of entrepreneurs. We went into a business where a lot of people would consider, I remember even up to today, people would still come up to me and tell me, niandikie kijana wangu. Hata kazi ya kusafisha atasafisha. And I asked myself, is it that it's the lowest job? Hata kazi ya kusafisha, nitasafisha. And yet, it's the most important function of a healthy nation. Imagine this. We have that flash flood that came up. If no one cleaned those drainages, would there be spread of cholera? Would there? If no one cleaned your washrooms in the public areas between your shopping malls or even in your homes, you'll be having sick people. You'll be having sick children. So they play a very important role, that of being able to have a clean environment and hygienic environment. So I remember whenever we have recruits that come on board, whenever we have new stewards, and we call them associates, whenever they come on board, the first thing that we do is indoctrinating them the importance of the job that they're carrying out. The importance of them owning the business in that small office that they'll be cleaning, in that washroom that they'll be cleaning. When they own that process, then transformation begins. Parapet continues to provide services related to professional cleaning for domestic, from your carpets to your curtains, to your soft furnishings, to post-construction jobs. We've moved on to doing fumigation and pest control. We've moved on to becoming waste management solution providers, to gardening and landscaping, to washroom solutions, sanitary bins, and so on. A movement that has been created due to a lack. Why I say a lack is because I look back when I almost gave up and my survival instinct checked in. It checked in at that point because I'm only human. And each one of us, as human beings, have that character in them. Is that adrenaline that checks in with a mode to be able to survive. And that human being is far more powerful than anything that could be. So as you're thinking about your journey into entrepreneurship, if you wish to go into entrepreneurship, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for the faint-hearted. It requires a lot of sacrifice. It requires a lot of dedication to it. Washeke mentioned earlier on, there's always this whole notion about getting into a comfort zone. When anyone wants to get into entrepreneurship, it's not your comfort zone. You go with months without even paying yourself your own salary. You find yourself sacrificing your own pay or your own luxuries to be able to take care of others. Its payoffs come later in life. But it depends on how you look at it. Personally, I never have my driver's money. I would never chase a contract because it's paying X. Well, for the organization to survive and for the shareholders to get their dividends, it's good to have a good return because there's no business which is charity. But the minute that we understood that our purpose is to be able to create employment, I chase for a job because it can employ X number of Kenyans, X number of Ugandans, X number of Rwandese, and so on, who would otherwise be in the same situation that I was in 17 years ago, where I was jobless yet educated. So whatever purpose drives you, in whatever that you're passionate about, think deeply in being able to be a life changer within what you do. Find that spark that is hidden within you to be able to actually bring out the best in you. And you'll find that there's a lot of fulfillment in driving change, in doing what you want to do just because you are passionate about it. I'd like to share with you a story of a gentleman called Moses a couple of weeks ago, and just to make you understand how results come out of something that you set up or ignited. I met Moses a couple of weeks ago in Dubai. I went to a hotel called the Marriott, and walking into the lobby, I just hear somebody shout at me, "Hey, Mr. Alex." I'm like, okay, I'm not in Dubai, but who is this who's calling me? And he was one of my staff. I had no clue who he was. So he came up to me and he told me, "You may not know who I am, but I used to work with you a couple of years ago. I'm now the head of concierge in a 5-star hotel." And I'm like, "Great stuff." And the guy tells me, "No, you don't understand. You're the one who made me who I am today." For a total stranger. He started off as a steward, working at one of my sites at the UN. And during that time when he was there, the person he was serving every morning and cleaning his office was so impressed with him that when that gentleman got an international posting in Dubai to work with a group of hotels, he called him and told him, "I would like you to come and work in one of the chain of hotels where they have a vacancy." So he created for himself that job. For me, I was just the path for him to be able to get that job. He's doing well for himself. He's feeding his family. And those are the stories that I enjoy to listen. That indeed, I have done and fulfilled part of my purpose in driving employment. Now, the question I'd like to leave with you one of us today is this. Do you want to be that person who creates a whole movement? The other question is this. What do you want to be remembered for when you die? Because we're all going to go through that journey. What do you ever want to be remembered for? Create that destiny where you want to be remembered. I'm sure the others would not even want to think about it, but it's there. We have to start thinking very solidly about what you want to be remembered for. For the college students, you have your whole destiny around for a very long time. There is not much time. Your journey starts today. The lessons that you're going to learn here later on are all about financial freedom. And with financial freedom, if we don't plan, You plan to do what? You just fail. So start early. I know there's going to be business about, right now, I remember when I was a teenager, if you ever came to tell me about retirement, I'll be like, that's such a thing that I should be thinking about when I'm 40, 50 years old. It starts today. When you're strong, when you have ideas, when you have the drive, when you have the courage. Start today to start thinking about your future. Where do you want to end? What's your end game? For the entrepreneur, what's your end game? What do you want to do with your business that will outlive you? For you currently on a job, do you want to be just part of the furniture? Or do you want to create a change within the environment that you're currently at? And at the same point, develop yourself. Because you're destined for greater things. There's going to be many speakers coming here to tell you about different experiences and different insights about life. But for all that, as I've said earlier on, there is one thing that we have to accept and be common about. To be successful, you have to accept one thing. I've learned it. I've learned that to be successful, you have to accept that you're foolish. Turn to your neighbor and tell him you're foolish. It's not insulting anybody. But believe you me, once your mind and body understand that you're foolish, it opens up so much more to learning. I've found leaders who have assumed that I know everything. I know this is what my client wants. I know what my staff want. When you lock yourself and you lock your mind, you're actually more deprived than any human being could be. But when you accept that I do not know, and you go with the attitude of I do not know, but I'm willing to learn and understand, then you start building your success. Because only people who learn to listen and to accept that they do not know and that they have a hunger to learn more and more are the ones that will differentiate themselves from the rest of the world. So if not for anything else, walk out of this room waiting upon yourself to be refreshed, to be nourished, to learn, and to accept that you are foolish. Have a good morning and enjoy the rest of your day.